Welcome to video 1. What is spirituality? See, spirituality is kind of a big term that's been thrown around a lot lately. In past, it's been thrown with terms such as New Age movement, and probably will have new names and new definitions given to it in the future as well. But the core principles of it basically break down to this. Number 1, spirituality is a personal journey versus a collective journey. Whereas organized religions usually have figureheads and leaders that guide and promote this religious growth, spiritual paths are usually more individualistic or tribal, family-related perhaps in their dynamics. This isn't to say that they don't spread out and have effects on the community, but how you interpret your spirituality is always going to be unique and different from everybody else. The pros to this is it allows each of us an opportunity to understand spirituality and the experiences of spirituality on our own terms. It's supposed to be in our control, in our own dynamic. It's supposed to be an expression and understanding of our path and our meaning and our purpose. So if someone's coming along and saying, no, you've got to fit into this cookie box, it doesn't really follow the right tenets of what we call spiritual freedom, spiritual liberty. 2, the other dark side to having sort of this individualistic dynamic is it does make it hard to create bonds and connections if people are constantly speaking different languages and different formats. For example, someone that is versed very well in Christianity may have a difficult time trying to understand Buddhist terms and Buddhist dynamics, even though there is a lot of areas where they overlap and even share similar beliefs and similar tenets. The trick to all of this is to, in my eyes, learn as many different languages and spirituality to help give yourself the tool sets and the equipment that you need to really understand what's out there in the larger picture. Look at your own upbringings. If you maybe were not baptized but were brought up in a Christian or Catholic school, that does give you at least some interpretations of Bibles through parables and stories that aren't necessarily available to a lot of others. And when you start looking to a person and explaining to them that you're feeling very much like the prodigal child, and they in turn say, oh, you're feeling very much like a crone that has kind of lost her flock, there is some similarities and some path that kind of comes in there, getting out of course and out of sorts with oneself. And it's through exchange and being open to that communication that we can actually find these interlays of things that line up. As you look further and further into religions as well, you'll notice areas where similarities between the tenets and the beliefs go all the way down to the way the stories are phrased and everything else. There's a number of different videos that'll touch on this already out there. If you know of the Zeitgeist movies, then you probably already know what I'm talking about. If you haven't heard of it before and you feel like having your thoughts on Christianity completely dashed, well, there you go. That all said though, just because all religions are written very similarly does not mean that's necessarily a falsehood. It means there's a universal code and a universal working methodology that exists there. We just need to figure out what it is. And the same thing that applies to, say, the Christian faith or the ancient Egyptian faith, the ancient Assyrian faith, the ancient Babylon faith. Even though the similarities there might be the same, in the long run, lost.